Welcome to Gloves Off Podcast. What are we? We are a hockey podcast.
Yeah, this is our first episode, and
essentially we'll be giving the hockey updates. We'll be following the league, and we'll do our best to show you an insight into the league from our perspective.
Also, any new news that comes out, we'll be bringing that to you as well. It might not be as fast as you'd like it, but it'll be out there.
yeah, we're gonna be mostly posting our episodes every Sunday, and any YouTube videos we can during the week. So everything will be roughly between a week.
Yeah, well, we'll have roughly weekly uploads on Sundays. I mean, they should be relatively like every Sunday. There shouldn't be a day that we miss very often. Anyways. Well, so what are we doing today?
What's the agenda?
We'll get into the agenda. So we're going to start off with our weekly Hertl. So every episode, we're going to start off with a kind of like Wordle-esque type game that is similar, obviously similar to Wordle, but it's the hockey version. So we gotta guess obviously we gotta guess the player by team, division.
It's Wordle.
It's Wordle, but
not Wordle with
words.
or with anything that Wordle does. It's just hockey players.
Yeah.
Wow.
So after that, we're gonna get into our main topic, which is our playoff recap. We'll go over basically all of that.
Yeah.
And then after the playoff recap, we're gonna go into our refs review. So Eric has all the info on that, so we'll get into that when we get there.
I pulled up 3 clips of some penalties or not penalties that were called during Game 1 of Dallas versus Winnipeg, and these guys will decide whether they think it is or is not a penalty. Refs did a good job.
See, I know I'm going to be least biased here, but you didn't do any of that one game where everyone just fucking...
I picked
kill
one
each other?
game and one game only. It had some interesting calls.
It did.
And then after that, we're gonna go into our NHL team.
The week.
I guess, of the week. So every episode, near the end of the episode, we're going to talk about a single team. Unless the podcast is like a gimmick podcast where we spend the entire episode talking about, let's say, the draft.
Which will be next week.
Our normal scheduled, I guess,
so
breakdowns,
we're
going to have...
We'll have the ABCs of NHL.
Yeah, so we're going to start with Anaheim, and we're going to go down alphabetically every episode. So we're going to start with Anaheim, which is going to be near the end of the episode. And then to finish off, we're going to do our game segment, which is going to be Top of the Bloodline, where I'm going to have a list of 5 father-son duos because Father's Day. And you two will have to, work together to blind rank them in the, best to worst.
Yeah,
best to
I mean,
worst,
you'll explain it once
we get there. But yeah, that'll be the general
from the bloodline every time. Yeah. We'll have a different game.
Yeah, different game every
time.
This
This
week.
one is specifically.
This one is centered around Father's Day. But yeah, every week there'll be a different game to end off the podcast. But
let's get into this Hertl.
Yeah, let's get into the Hertl.
Hertl is pretty much, it's a game where you guess players, and every time you guess a player, you get a new clue. It could be conference, team, position, number, any of those. And when you see something that is in yellow, that means that you're close, but you're not there yet.
When we clicked this earlier to test, I instantly thought of Alec Martinez, but that's just based off the little
I was gonna say more
Mohawk-esque type.
Honestly,
I would say more Jonathan Huberdeau.
I feel like I've seen this guy, but he's a homeless guy on the street. Like,
I definitely could be that.
I haven't seen this guy in the NHL, but you just start with a guess. So who do you guys want? You said Alec Martinez. You said
whatever.
I said I think Martinez is good because he's old. We can see if it's upper. It's probably gonna be lower.
It's probably gonna be lower than Alec Martinez.
All the way up here. So he's
US.
You got nothing there.
No, he's younger than 37. Okay.
Well, yeah,
that was kind of
90% of the NHL.
We also know he's not in the West.
He's not in the West. He's a lower number than 25, which is nice.
Could be a forward or a goalie.
Yeah, I mean he's a forward or a goalie.
Yeah, those are the only other options.
So who's your guess?
I had Jonathan Huberdeau, but he's in the West too.
Yeah,
he's
so
in the same.
No, he's in the Pacific.
I
mean, that's still
maybe
he's in the East Division. I mean, I'll pull up the silhouette again. I feel like you can't really guess.
You can't really guess too much off the silhouette.
Maybe just try to guess a forward in the East.
How about actually wait, Anthony Stolar?
Yeah,
just throw that out as a guess. I could see him in that
goalies, which is nice.
Yeah, that would cut off goalies.
I know he's got a higher number than 25, but
okay. So we got the division. We got the age is close. He's actually decently old. He's 32 or 33. He's not a goalie. He's not in Toronto, and his number never mattered.
like an old forward. Not too old though.
So yeah, the teams we got are all. It has to be in the Atlantic.
In the
So-
U.S.
Boston.
And he's it's not from the. It's not a U.S. team, but it has
It's
to
a
be
U.S.
US
born
He's the
player.
US player.
So it's not going to be like Brady Tkachuk. He's too young, but he's from the U.S.
Mhm.
But he plays in the Canadian
Yes,
team.
yeah.
I don't know. My head's going towards Boston, but I don't think there's any old people on Boston
The
anymore.
only one I can think of is Pasternak, but Pasternak's not from the U.S.
He's not from the US.
He's Czech.
Who else is an older guy from
Actually, wait.
the US that is in the Atlantic? Just
Think of
what are the Atlantic
team.
teams like? We have
And they also have
Ottawa.
Could be Tampa.
Could be Tampa.
Yeah, Ottawa, Tampa, Florida,
Tampa though.
Buffalo. Buffalo doesn't got any old guys that I know of.
No, Alex Tuck's Canadian. I think.
Yeah, I think he's Canadian.
Actually, you know what? Throw Brady Tkachuk in there.
I just want but Brady isn't he like
He's
But
yeah.
every time I think of him, he looks bald to me.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think that
but
would
it looks
be.
like the Hey You Guys from the game.
No.
Hey You Guys.
Okay, so we got he's a left winger.
Hella young.
Yeah, he's young though. We knew that wasn't him, and he's not
He's
on
not.
Ottawa.
He's probably like.
Okay, but that helps. So he's left.
Where's Brendan Gallagher from? He's from Alberta. What am I saying?
Is he left? No.
He's from Alberta.
Is he left?
I don't know.
Wing.
Yeah, he is. And he's also. I'm pretty sure he's Canadian.
I don't know. I don't know.
Canadian. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I mean, sometimes you get these guys. Who
What?
are on the third line.
Oh! Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit. I mean, we got a few.
Not
teams
Patrick
we
Kane, I
can
know
guess
that for sure.
from. Wow. You've added a lot.
Could it be Dylan Larkin? I know his numbers. I know his numbers
got
not.
nice
I
hair,
know his
though.
numbers not there, but like,
Larkin's a center.
not to brink it either. Freaking Detroit. 'Cause that's like
who's some old guys? Like 33, 32.
That's what I was. That's what I was saying.
How old is Talbot?
Ooh. No, he plays for.
Oh, it's not a
Kings.
goalie.
Plays
Never
for
mind.
Kings.
What are you talking about?
Talbot.
He's on the Kings now, isn't
No,
he?
he's not. Oh, he got traded. Did he get traded?
I think he's on the Kings.
Maybe.
Maybe that was last year. Him
Did
just,
he get? I don't know. I could be wrong. All I know is Mrazek went to Detroit.
Yeah. He was. He went to.
He was from
went to-
Detroit originally,
Yeah,
but he went
Detroit,
back.
Chicago, and then back to Detroit.
I believe he plays
Um,
for the Detroit Red Wings at the moment.
No, he does.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cam
no,
Talbot.
that's right. Yeah.
It must have been last year.
Possibly.
Jeez.
Drawing blanks. Let's make a guess. Just throw any guess out. Like maybe.
Throw Dylan Larkin in there
Yeah,
just so we can see.
might
if
as
it's
well.
Because I feel like it's Detroit. I just can't think of anybody on that.
Larkin. So yeah, he was a
Not
center. It's
from
not
the-
Detroit.
Okay, well,
Well, that was.
And he's not even that old. He's 28. I was gonna say. I feel like
Who else?
he used
Who's
to be young.
older? Who's older?
I don't know. We're not good with older guys. Pretty
Uh,
obvious. Whoa, hey.
Pause.
I didn't say nothing.
Um.
Yeah, I did also know his number.
Oh God. What other Atlantic teams are there?
There's a few.
Yeah, but like
Florida.
Both
I
Florida.
completely forgot about Florida. Oh my God.
Yeah, anybody
Uh,
throw out there right now?
Evan Rodriguez. No, he's
Carter
not.
Verhage?
He's not that old. I don't think he's 30. I don't think he's over
Let's throw some
31.
guesses out there.
American?
He's a center.
It's not from Florida.
Oh my God.
What other teams
He's
are in the
Canadian.
Atlantic that we're not thinking of? Buffalo and
Oh,
Buffalo, Ottawa. There's 7, so it's Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit.
there's exactly enough guesses to find out what team this is.
Tampa and
Tampa,
Buffalo.
Leafs.
Buffalo.
Buffalo. I said Buffalo. No, okay, wait. Don't interrupt me. Buffalo,
Oh,
Toronto,
damn.
Canadians, Senators, Detroit, Boston, Tampa,
Boston.
Florida.
Man, I feel like I
Canadians.
haven't looked at any.
Montreal.
Montreal's in the Atlantic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I haven't thought
That's
about.
why I said Brendan Gallagher.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't thought
It's
about
Canadian.
anyone on Boston in so long.
But they don't have any old guys, I don't think. other
Unless,
than
unless
Patrick.
this is counting before Charlie Coyle got traded. And he's somewhat old.
I
I
don't know.
mean, I feel like this is generally pretty up to date. 'Cause they do this every day. This is daily.
This is daily.
He only got traded this year.
Okay. We only have 2 more guesses. Or yeah.
Yeah.
2.
This might be
I
an L.
don't-
This
I don't-
might be an L.
I don't want to waste on
Hey,
Coyle
if
because
you guys really wanna. Wow, is that
It
helping?
looks like okay, it's not a goalie.
not a goalie.
It's a
It
left
looks
winger.
he looks Swedish or like
He
Well,
looks
he's
like someone took a bite out of his hair right there.
yeah.
Like
He looks like he has a comb over. Kind of.
Probably.
He's definitely some fucking third line bum.
That's what I mean. Like, it's so hard to find that third
Definitely
line.
a third line bum.
You guys just want to throw out a guess? Anybody on?
You got to be a different team.
Throw someone on Boston.
Hagel?
He's Canadian.
Oh,
Yeah,
never
Hagel's
mind.
Canadian.
Oh, Jake Gensel.
Gensel's not that old.
Well, we'll throw it in. He is pretty old.
Oh, he is pretty old.
But he's not from Tampa. It's not on Tampa.
Oh,
All right.
it's
Boston.
It's Boston, Buffalo, or
Montreal.
Okay.
I don't know any of those teams at all.
Nice.
It's not Montreal because they're
Wait.
all young.
No, Josh Anderson, 71.
Yeah, Montreal is
Mike
like
Matheson.
the chances.
Not a defense. He's
Oh,
Canadian.
God
He's
damn.
Canadian.
I don't know,
Everything was wrong with that guess.
I just threw out a.
All right, let's
That's like
throw out some
I'm trying to
guesses.
think like there's the Four Nations teams.
Oh, I didn't.
All right.
Just trying to think of like the Four Nations teams. That's where I pulled Gensel out of.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, but I think
I
this
don't
isn't
know
a four.
anybody
This is
on-
some third
Yeah,
line.
this
This
is
is
some
a
third
third
line
liner on
All right, let's
Boston.
make some guesses. Who's on?
Lowry.
Huh?
Lowry.
Low
He's a defense.
Oh, never mind.
God.
I'm not good with forwards and defense.
Just guess any player that's on Boston.
I was gonna
David
say
Pastrnak.
Middlestat. I was gonna
Alright.
say Middlestat, but he's on.
He's on Buffalo.
No.
Oh, he's on.
He's on
Wait,
Colorado.
who do they get for
It's
Middlestat?
not Boston.
Who do they get for Middlestat?
I can't
Oh, I know this one too.
off the top of my head.
All right, we
Well,
have
it's
one
not
more
Boston
guess,
anyways.
and
It's
it's
not
not Boston.
No, because it could be Buffalo, because that's where Middlestat came from. Was Buffalo?
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Casey Middlestat came from
No,
Buffalo.
but I'm talking about Middlestat went to Colorado.
Yeah, he went from Colorado from Buffalo.
What? He went to Colorado from Boston.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Look, he was on Buffalo. I'm telling you.
Am I
my brother.
tripping?
Yeah, you are fully tripping.
Let's see. All right. Let's. I think we forfeit this one.
I think we just put in a random guess from Buffalo. Put
Paige Thompson.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
No.
UPL. No, it's not a goalie anyways. What am I saying?
Yeah, no. I was
I'm
gonna
so
say I'm
good.
not putting that in.
Yeah, pal. He got traded from Buffalo, and he's on Boston now.
Oh, so it could. No, it can't be. But I.
no, he got like he was Colorado right there.
Yeah.
Colorado to
No,
Boston.
It could be him.
It's not.
It's not.
We said it's not Boston.
It's not Boston.
Oh, right, yeah.
Buffalo.
Well, that was great, James. Thanks for
No,
that.
I was just thinking of who did he get traded for?
Just do.
Alex Tuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say just do Alex Tuck.
Oh wait.
Paterka.
Jordan Greenway.
All right.
That's
We're
a-
gonna
that's-
trust him because I
I think he may be playing for
Jason
Zucker.
Are we dead?
Oh my god. So it wasn't a third string guy. It was.
You know, if we thought a little bit more,
I
we
think
probably could have got that.
Yeah, but I don't.
But
want
also,
to.
he's now on. Isn't he on Ottawa now? No,
No.
that's a different guy.
No, Zucker's not.
No, he got traded. Zucker got traded.
Man, that last guess was so good too. Jordan Greenway. It was on Buffalo.
If we guessed out for
Pasternak.
If we guessed that
Yeah.
for Pasternak,
All right, so
pretty sure he plays for Ottawa.
that's the Hertl done and out.
Yeah, that's the hurdle.
Don't have to worry about that anymore.
Nope, he still
That's
plays
an
for
L to
Buffalo.
start. We should keep
Oh, he does.
we should keep track of how many times we don't get it right.
Yeah, so that's
We're 0
episode
1. We're 0 1.
Yeah, 0-1.
Episode 1, 0-1.
Okay, so so we're 0-1 in the hurdles.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad way to start, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So playoff recap.
Playoff
Goddamn
recap.
Jason Zucker.
Yeah.
God, that guy needs to get a haircut.
Buffalo.
Well, no, he needs more hair. It looked like
He needs to go to Turkey. Is where he
Yeah,
needs to go.
yeah.
He needs-
Yeah, he needed that turkey.
Playoff recap.
Playoff recap.
So
I don't know. What are your guys' main thoughts on the playoffs, just in general so far?
I'm gonna look at it in terms of the Eastern Conference. The
Yeah.
Eastern Conference is very weak in the Metropolitan Division.
You think so?
Yeah.
Like this is not Leafs bias.
Really?
The Atlantic is insanely good. So you have Tampa and Florida, people said whoever was coming out of that series was gonna win the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then you have the Leafs. You have Ottawa who's coming up. Montreal
But the thing is, like, even like Tampa, Florida, they were like 2-3 seeds. They weren't even like top
and Detroit too.
Yeah. But if you also look at it now, after Boston's trades, Boston's going down.
Yeah.
Detroit's not really.
But so is Buffalo.
Buffalo's not going down, but they're not. They're kind of just sitting there. Same with Detroit. Tampa lost the first round, and I have a feeling they're now going downhill. Like they're still going to be good, but they're now going downhill. I think the Leafs also, with what's happening, they're also not going to stay the same.
Yeah.
I think Florida also, with how many guys they're going to be losing because of UFA, RFA, whatever.
But Sam Bennett's coming back though. He's gonna come back. He's gonna sign for more, but he's gonna come back. They're gonna lose.
They're going to lose people. So all those teams in the Atlantic, are going to be going down, in my opinion. Not like maybe not drastically, but they're going to be going down.
See, but like the only two teams that I think are actually good in the Metro is you have Washington,
Carolina,
who surprised everybody in Carolina.
Yeah,
I can't name any other good because Islanders, Rangers keep blowing up.
Pittsburgh
is out the door.
Okay, Pittsburgh and Islanders are out the door. The Rangers fell off.
Yeah.
They were the best team last season. This season they just fell off the face of the earth.
Now they lost Kreider though.
Yeah, they lost Kreider.
They lost Kreider now too.
They could come back next season, but I don't think it's happening. Columbus will step up. I think so.
I don't think so. I think Columbus is just still. They're not like their top stars aren't developed enough yet. Because you have Boone Jenner.
It's not going to be that much. They're not going to jump that much, but they're going to jump in the sense of their.
Like in terms of next year, I think that they're gonna take a step forward. They're not gonna make the playoffs.
Is there a team we're also missing there?
New Jersey.
Yeah, so they're also pretty good.
They are good, but in terms of looking at Atlantic teams, I don't think they are that great.
Yeah,
so they're better than the rest we named, other than Washington and Carolina. They're third.
What's your thoughts on the divisional split versus the conference split in the playoffs?
I think honestly, the West is better. I think the West is better.
More than
besides Florida, I think the West is better.
More than like in the playoffs, they used to run it seeds 1 through 8, but now it's split between the divisions. Seeds 1
I don't
through 4.
like that.
Yeah, I like the
it should be.
I
think the 1 through 8.
Because then you have stuff like you have Tampa versus Florida.
Yeah,
you have the Leafs versus Florida in the second round.
I think you also have the same stuff every year.
It's the same stuff every year.
Like like Toronto, Florida.
Like there's a reason why Toronto fans absolutely despise Boston because they played them 4 times in 5 years.
And now they're hitting Florida. I remember we want Florida chants. I don't think I hear that anymore.
No.
Yeah.
But also the state of Florida does kind of run the East.
Yeah.
They've won the last 6 straight Eastern Conference championships.
They got all of those.
Yeah.
What really surprised me was the Winnipeg St. Louis.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Like that was crazy.
Especially starting it off.
Yeah.
As the first game of the playoffs, I think their series was definitely one of the most interesting.
Thinking going in that Winnipeg was going to do so good, just underestimating that like St. Louis did have that. Well, what was the end streak? Was it 14, 12 game streak for St. Louis?
I think so, yeah.
And
they
weren't losing, and no one really like counted their horses going into the race because St. Louis ended up taking Winnipeg all the way. And it was only for the last 2 seconds of that last game.
Yeah, that last
where
game.
Winnipeg got that back.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
Another thing is too, I think another underrated series that Kings Oilers series.
I was gonna say that as well.
Because you have the Oilers who got counted down and out, and then came back.
I thought they were losing that series. I had in my bracket. I had the Kings going to the finals.
And you have one of the biggest coaching blunders of all time. In literally reviewing a play they already reviewed and gave up a power play goal because of it.
It
was the turning point.
That man should lose his job and never get another one in the NHL.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yep.
No, I mean that's the type of thing that you can't afford as a coach. With the little you do in the hockey game, doing the one thing you can do to completely upturn and like give your team a power play. Because like coaches don't do anything like tangible in the game. They can't like hop on the ice and throw a puck in that.
But the thing is though, they also like they choose who goes on the ice.
Yeah, but the one thing they can do that like completely can't just affect the game completely alone is challenging a play.
Yeah.
Or like calling a timeout.
Yes.
And he chose to do that at the worst possible time. And made it completely like the worst case for the Kings.
See, but you could also say the stuff with Peter DeBoer and the Jake Ottinger stuff. Like
DeBoer
should not have pulled Ottinger, and that was a huge part of that game. That potentially could have lost them the series.
I see that as different.
It did.
But I wouldn't say that's the only reason why they lost the series.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is though is that DeBoer definitely made a blunder. He should have called a timeout, brought Ottinger over, and talk to him, not pull him out outright. That cost him his job. It cost him the series. It cost him probably Ottinger.
I mean, yeah, he paid for his crimes.
Yeah, I wanted to talk his crimes. I wanted to talk about that because he was fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what else are you gonna do? I think everybody who like lives in Dallas and like watches those games would never want to see one if he was on the bench again.
Yeah.
Because he talked so bad about their goalie and made them possibly lose that series. Who wants to go watch a game with him at the helm still? Like really?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't a terrible like.
He's a pretty
good coach.
Yeah.
Like he had a really good record, and I feel like a lot like as soon as Boston, I brought this up in our test too. Our like Boston, as soon as they were the last team to hire a coach. They were the last team that didn't have a signed coach. As soon as they signed their coach, they fired DeBoer. So like, I don't know if a team's gonna like. I know you brought up last time how it would be good if Vancouver dropped Adam Foote back to assistant and brought on DeBoer, because that would probably be better for Vancouver. But
I think so. I think with that whole Vancouver situation though, they're in such a terrible predicament where they don't hold their own. Well, they do, but they don't at the same time.
Yeah.
Their whole future is in Quinn Hughes, and
Which is a big-
and if he stays,
And
or
if he
not.
Which is
stays
a big-
there, yeah.
But back to playoffs. I think honestly, one of the series I think really was like.
Yeah, so I have all the series up right here. If you guys
Oh, you
want
have
to
the
quickly
series?
go, if you guys want to quickly go through them and just give like a 10-second review
Yeah.
of what. So that Winnipeg, St. Louis, we already went through. Dallas, Colorado. What'd you guys think of that?
Honestly,
Underwhelming.
it was kind of underwhelming.
Dude, it was like going in, I was like, oh, it's Colorado's
It's gonna
got
be a
this
great
easy.
series.
And then as soon as the first game, I was like, oh, Dallas has got this. And then the next game, I was like, Colorado's got this. And then I never had an idea of who was going to actually win
Yeah.
it.
To me though, it just felt underwhelming though.
The ending was a little underwhelming.
It should have gone to 7.
Yeah.
It should have
Yeah,
gone to
so-
7, and it just didn't. Like it was a great series. Don't get me
Like-
wrong. But the thing is though, is like I expected so much more out of those two big powerhouses to really become the best series of the playoffs. Didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
All right. Vegas, Minnesota.
Another one I'm just like,
Forgettable.
honestly, I honestly forgot that they were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I wanted Minnesota,
I
but
felt like Minnesota surprised me, but it wasn't even enough. Like I was like, oh, Minnesota's doing good, and then they lost, and then it's like, oh, I guess they weren't. But I never really like paid too much attention to it.
yeah, it wasn't that like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
wasn't that big.
It was interesting the fact that you saw Minnesota put up a fight, but like the result everyone saw coming.
Yeah.
It was nothing new.
We talked about the Lakers Edmonton game.
The
Toronto-
Lakers.
Yeah.
King, you mean?
The Lakers.
I've done that
Kings.
so many times. I've done it before.
I think it's the Kings, pal.
Yeah, so Toronto, Ottawa. I mean, this one we all
I was
obviously know
really
this
hoping
one.
the Leafs lost.
Yeah.
I was really.
So
My heart beat a little bit with that one.
yeah, that was.
we're in Toronto. So he's a Toronto fan. I'm a Habs fan. You're a Chicago fan.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, it's not. It's not that weird. When your team loses 52 years in a row, you can't expect everyone to stay with them.
I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
I'll give that to you.
So we all definitely were able to watch this and get the fan reaction to these Toronto
Oh
games. The Toronto Ottawa series was nice to see Ottawa get a few.
Honestly, yes.
Ottawa's going to be a good team.
Ottawa's
Yeah,
gonna
be a
it
good
was
team.
it was a good step for them. I think mindset wise, I think it's really good for them.
I think
They're going to be in a good mindset going into next year.
I think what lost them that series was just the playoff experience.
Yeah.
And obviously the Leafs don't have that much more compared to them, but they just have that
They need
extra
to-
bit that they know the penalties got to stop.
yes, the penalties got to stop.
You gotta learn to keep your emotions in the playoffs. Because everything about that game, like everything about those like 3 games that between Ottawa and Toronto, where it was just an absolute bloodbath.
Yeah.
Those games, you gotta keep your cool because you know that like the refs are gonna try and calm it down. They're gonna take one guy, and they're gonna and you don't want to be that guy,
Yeah.
which costs them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot more that we could say about the Toronto games, but we'll skip past that for now. The Tampa, Florida.
Again,
Honestly, forgettable.
again, underwhelming.
Yeah.
That was a series I thought was going 7, and I thought. And
I mean, you
obviously-
think they're like 2 powerhouses who are gonna fight for like this massive clash, but then it's
See, it should have been. Yeah, it should have been a 2 powerful teams going at it, going to Game 7, and it's going to be a tight race. But it was a forgettable.
and
Like
that's
I honestly forgot Tampa was in the playoffs
that's my problem
because of how
with-
strong Florida came out.
That's my problem with the playoff format.
Yep.
That should not have happened in round 1. That should be
Yeah.
a conference final or at least a second round. At least. That should not be a round 1 matchup because that's huge.
I mean,
Same thing as the Dallas Colorado.
and Florida wasn't even seated above them. Tampa was seated above them, and they still got stomped. Florida just like shows up. Florida is a playoff team.
Yes, they're
They got the gritty. Like they get in there. Yeah. Oh, I said they got the gritty. They are gritty, and they
got that grit.
they got the grit.
They got those
But
grit grinders.
whatever, they get there, and the playoffs like is exactly what they need to do well. I mean, as we'll check later, the calls are different in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's exactly what Florida needs to
Another thing is too is their guys consistently show up. Like you have Sergei Bobrovsky, kind of like a mid goalie all year. Like he makes the stops when he needs to in the playoffs, something, and he just becomes a different animal. Like when he's on his game, he's the best goalie in the league.
It should be what
hands
Hellebuck.
down. Exactly. It should be what Hellebuck is, but
No, it's not.
They're kind of
that MVP pissed me off. Hellebuck should not be the MVP.
but it's more of a season MVP.
Yes, but
it's not like a playoff
the
MVP.
problem is though is that you have to look at success when it comes to that. And not only one, it's weird giving it to a goalie.
He was
No offense to goalies, but I think the problem is the fact that I just don't think. Yes, he had a great year, and so did Winnipeg. But the problem is, I just don't see him like you're a goalie. You have to show up game in and game out, and he didn't show up when it counted.
All right, so enough about the Florida series. The Washington Montreal games.
I really wanted Montreal to
Same.
win.
As a
I
Leafs-
thought they were going to go down. Well, Washington was going to go downhill because he broke the
Yeah.
record and they
Yeah,
weren't really
yeah.
in it. But I guess they were in it until they weren't. I don't know. Like
As a Leafs fan, I wanted Montreal.
I
to
wanted
win.
Montreal to beat.
As a-
Weird to say,
as a
but I
Montreal
wanted them to
fan,
win.
I wanted Montreal to win. But no, if you look at the series as a whole, as them losing 4-1, it looks like they did so bad. But Montreal, if you look at each game themselves, I think they brought 3 of them to OT. They were so close, and that team is the youngest team ever to make it in the playoffs in hockey. And that just shows that like they still were able to hold their own against like one of the best teams that was going in there, that was a favorite to make it through.
And Montreal was like third last at the
Oh,
beginning
yeah.
of the season. Like
It was a turnaround.
it was crazy. They
think
shot right up.
Another thing is too is like not to poke fun at the fact they don't have Price anymore, but that's a huge problem.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
goaltending is a
Montembeault
huge
and Dostal have like held their ground.
Don't get me wrong, Montembeault is a great goalie.
Montembeault's
But he doesn't have the playoff experience. He doesn't.
I mean, that's the whole team.
He
The
doesn't
whole
have-
team
doesn't
is
have the
kind of like not really because they're so young. They just haven't even had the time to get the playoff experience.
Another thing is though with the goaltending that I have a problem with. He doesn't have that.
Just wait.
Scheduled break.
They don't have that clutch gene that they need when it comes to being a goalie. Like I'm not saying the whole team doesn't. Obviously, they don't have the experience, but like Price didn't have a lot of playoff experience. Obviously, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals multiple times. But the thing is though is that
And the
even
Stanley Cup final.
and the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
Even even when they didn't. The thing is though is that even when he was a rookie when he came in, he didn't obviously probably didn't do that great in the first few playoffs. I don't really know what happened. But anyway, he had that clutch.
Making assumptions, huh?
Well, but he had that clutch gene though that he
Yeah.
from the start. That's just what I don't see
Price
out of
has just in
Montembeault.
general, he was the savior of the Habs. Because in general, the Habs weren't like they weren't a playoff team. They weren't in general like
Oh,
they
now I
shouldn't
remember
be
the Stanley
there.
Cup final.
Yes.
Like,
I remember that. yeah.
Every single time you'd finish a game, there would be like 3 highlights of Carey Price completely robbing some obvious goal. And like you'd be like, oh, that's why they made it through. Any other team would have 2 more goals scored in them every game. But Price would just stop those and he'd get it. And those 2 that they would have scored, Price stops. And that's enough that they are able to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
See, that's what I want to say is the fact that again you're gonna hate me for this, but the only reason Montreal made it to that finals is because of Carey Price.
Yeah, okay.
He played unreal.
He played unreal. You can't get there without a team. They had a good team.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you just said, he kept those 2 goals out that
he did.
won them
100%.
games.
Yes. Yes.
He won them games.
But he was also on Montreal, so that's why. Hey.
Yeah.
All right, Carolina,
Yeah.
New Jersey.
That was obvious.
Forgettable.
That was no. Honestly, that was obvious.
forgettable.
It was like New Jersey was just destined to not.
I went into the playoffs thinking Carolina was going to do really good, and I wasn't surprised.
I went into the playoffs like I could have told you like from the beginning, Carolina and Dallas are going to be the finals, but they were Eastern Conference finalists, but they weren't.
But that's the thing with them though is again they just don't have
They don't have that
they don't have that grit to them
Yeah.
to get past that
that point
barrier
that
because
point.
like you run into Carolina or if you run into Florida and you run into Edmonton, two gritty teams that'll beat you down and win at the same time.
Yeah.
Dallas is kind of, in my opinion, prima donnas. Same with Carolina. They are gritty, but not to the level they need to be to make it past that speed bump.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, New Jersey, I feel like I didn't even remember them during the regular season. Like during the regular season, I was like, oh, I thought they were bad, but then they showed up in the playoffs.
They're
and I
not.
was like,
They're not the worst. Like they have good guys. Like they're like their whole team's like pretty decent, well-rounded and decent, and they have the goaltending in a sense with Markstrom.
yeah.
But Jack Hughes being out in the playoffs, so is a
Yes.
huge.
Oh, yeah.
That was 100%.
that's their guy.
That was 100%
That
what
hurt.
brought them down.
If Connor McDavid's out in the playoffs, Edmonton doesn't make it.
Yeah. Bro, Edmonton, he carries that team on his back.
Every time I see him pick up the puck, it's like a magician or something. He just starts like dancing around people and like dragging it through his feet, and like it's crazy.
You stand up every time you see McDavid get the puck.
Yeah,
Because he's just got that.
just like I clap when the plane lands.
Get out of here.
All right, Winnipeg, Dallas.
Oh,
We're
we're
talking-
going further in.
Oh,
do you guys don't want to go further in?
I mean,
Yeah, we can.
These are supposed to be quicker. We're supposed to do
Yeah,
like
we're-
10 seconds.
we're spending
Realistically, Winnipeg, Dallas. Honestly,
disappointing.
it was. I that's what I expected.
Man.
Really. It's really expected. Like
all the
Yeah,
stuff that
after-
happened too.
After the St. Louis Winnipeg series, I'm not that surprised that they lost to Dallas.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like
if
I mean,
if they came
Hellebuck
out of
just
that
never
series-
showed up.
If they came out of that series stronger,
Yeah.
then I would have said
if they came out of that St. Louis series with winning in 4 or 5 games, I would have given them a better chance. But they went to 7 against a team that was the 8th seed.
Yeah, I think if Winnipeg had gone farther, the 2-second goal with the following overtime goal would have been the same as the Kawhi Leonard shot from Toronto. But if Winnipeg had done something with it,
yes,
but they didn't. And like, I mean, even all the stuff that like Mark Scheifele, he had family troubles during that, and that really sucked.
That was amazing though to see him score in that game.
Yeah.
After it
Yeah.
happened,
Yeah,
that was.
I mean,
amazing.
even seeing him just in that game after.
even in the game in general.
It's just surprising.
it just shows you the level that
is-
NHL players play at when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Vegas Edmonton.
Good
Again,
series. Good series.
I like the series.
in my opinion, I saw it as kind of self-explanatory. Like
Yeah.
like if LA wasn't beating Edmonton, I don't think Vegas
Yeah.
was.
See, but Edmonton did the thing that Winnipeg needed to do, which was they faced struggles at the start of that series, came out of it, they still won, but then they carried that
Into the next
into the next
100%.
series. Winnipeg didn't do that. They stopped, reset, which is not what they needed to do.
I mean, Edmonton is just a force to be reckoned with in this playoffs right now.
No, it's McDavid is a force to be reckoned
Well, that's what I was gonna
Weapon
say.
with.
They got
McDavid and
McDavid.
friends.
But
McDavid
even
and friends.
McDavid, Draisaitl's a great.
Draisaitl's good.
gotten
Draisaitl's
what?
good.
He's at the most overtime playoff goals.
Yeah.
now?
Wasn't he the most dominant forward in the preseason or not preseason?
Yeah, he almost
regular
won
season.
the Hart Trophy. Or what's the trophy for?
Art Ross?
Yeah,
no,
something.
no.
What?
Rocket Richard for goals.
Not that one. No.
Art Ross.
No, it wasn't for that. It was a voted one. I think it's Hart.
No.
Yeah. Which is the one that Hellebuck won?
MVP, it's Hart.
Yeah. Okay. So Draisaitl was second in Hart voting. And so he played really good.
No, he
Like,
did play insane.
They did.
He was like Matthews last season in a sense where like, okay, not like Matthews, but
See,
I'm thinking of it
Matthews
as
is not
like
a
a
playoff
fantasy perspective. Like the season before last year, Matthews was the guy to have on your fantasy team.
Yeah.
This year it was Draisaitl,
Yeah. I mean,
and that's
Draisaitl
kinda,
is the side to McDavid that they need. They need Draisaitl and McDavid, and they can't be separated the way that other people can.
Yeah, because you have McDavid, who's just a pure, absolute genius with the puck. I
mean,
mean, you have Draisaitl, who's just an absolute scorer.
Yeah, I remember last year there was all the memes of Draisaitl sitting behind the side of the net and just practicing slamming it in after McDavid passes it to him.
But that's why you got Shaq Hyman, though.
Yeah. It's Jack Hyman
in front
now.
of the net and just fucking
Slams it
backs
in.
it in, bro.
All right, next.
Yeah, next.
Toronto, Florida. We got a lot to say about that game. We'll cut it short.
yeah. Honestly, I think it was a really good series. I think it was one of the best.
I think the
You saying
ending,
that
the
'cause
ending.
game you wanted one?
See, but the thing
No.
is though,
But it was pretty good. Like honestly, like
my problem with it though, you can't lose 2 games 6-1 and expect you to be a good team, like be called a good team.
It
When
was-
you lose,
it
when
was
you-
funny. That
when you
was
lose
funny.
6-1, not once but twice in the same series. Come on. Like
Toronto fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
the tears of the 52 years just coming out. Like
Yeah, and Florida just, I mean, they just looked like the better team going into that and coming out of that. They looked like the better team.
Yeah.
scary.
Washington, Carolina.
Surprising, but I did think Carolina was coming
Yeah.
out of that.
I mean, once they get to the fourth game, it's like, yeah, okay. Washington's not making it out of this one.
yeah. If Ovi was
But-
retiring, I think they probably would have made a stronger run.
Yeah,
But
but
he's not.
he's got one more year.
He's got a-
I,
I
s-
like,
I saw a quote the other day. I think it was Datsuk that said it, but he said that Ovi wouldn't be allowed back in.
Oh, I
Russia
saw that as well.
if he did not score 900 goals
Or
before.
1,000. I think it was 1,000.
No, oh yeah, it was 1,000 because he's already at nine.
He's at
Yeah,
920 or 940 or 960.
No, it's like 980.
It was over 1,000 with playoffs.
penalties.
Wait, yeah, with penalties too. No. But yeah, that series, it was surprising seeing the end after thinking about the two teams going in, but during the series, it wasn't surprising. I think you felt like everything made sense on why it happened. Dallas Edmonton.
Pretty like
Yeah,
like it
is
was,
that your?
honestly like I don't know. I don't think I watched enough to
Yeah,
have input.
Dallas, I feel like just fell apart. Edmonton is obviously a really good team, and like they made it there, and they deserve to make it past. But I feel like Dallas could have beat them.
Oh yeah.
Dallas could have beat them, and they didn't, and that's something they're gonna have to work on. Is just
He's at 897.
897. Yeah, he's about to hit 900. But
Then maybe he's gonna play 2 more years then.
I think I don't think
No
he's gonna
shot
play.
he's
I don't
at
think he's
1,000.
gonna play one more season. I think
his
he's gonna have
body
more
is
than
gonna
that.
start breaking down. He's at
I don't-
39.
I don't know, man.
He's
I mean,
already
he
at.
broke his what? He broke his
back.
Like, no,
No.
he broke his leg or something
It was
during the season,
yeah, I
or
want to say
or
knee
ankle or
something.
knee or something during the season. I think it was the knee.
But he was out for what? 30 games.
He was
or
out. Yeah,
something?
no, not that long.
He was out for a month.
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
couple. It was a
30
couple
games
weeks.
maybe. Yeah.
It was like 4
It
weeks
was a broken
maybe.
leg.
broken leg. There you go.
And he came back like nothing happened.
Yeah, and
That's why I
he
say
started
he's an
scoring.
animal.
He's crazy.
He's a Russian
I don't
bear.
think he,
He does
stops
not-
playing until he physically can't, or he's like done.
Until
Yeah.
he literally kills
he
over
reaches
and
a
dies.
milestone.
Yeah,
He's the next Yarmir Yager, bro.
handle a vodka before each game, and then
You know,
he's
Pepsi on the
fine.
bench.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Or
what was,
Dr. Pepper.
what was it
Coke
that
or
he
something.
what was it that he walked in with? He walked in with like hot Cheetos and like something else as his
That's a
pregame
vibe, that's
meal.
a
Yeah, and that's the peak male physical body you can get.
He has
It's
the beer
hot
belly
Cheetos,
out.
beer belly, and a rocket from the top of the circle.
Oh,
yeah, that's what you need. All right,
yeah, nice.
They are gonna hurt
Florida,
though missing
Carolina.
Oshie though.
Yes, that
Losing
is.
Oshie is a huge
I mean, they played
problem.
this season without him.
yeah, he was injured.
Well, yeah, but yes. Who's next?
Oh, here we go. It was Subway and hot Cheetos.
Oh, yeah, Subway and hot Cheetos.
It's Subway and hot Cheetos.
Carolina and
yeah, Florida, Carolina.
Honestly, I wasn't
Any
expecting. I wasn't expecting much.
I
from
feel like
Carolina.
the closer we've gotten to the final game, the more it's been like, yeah, the teams in the finals have been so dominant throughout this whole thing. There's a reason they were there last year,
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
They've just been so dominant that it's like, yeah, these teams are going to make it. Once you see them getting close, you're like, oh, this is going to happen again.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what happened with this series. I mean, Carolina, how many Eastern Conference finals have they lost in a row now?
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Well,
If-
it's been they
not
haven't
in a
won
row,
a game.
but-
They haven't won. Okay, well, other than this, they have. It's
Actually,
been like
it's-
14 Eastern Conference final games or something.
Yeah. No,
that
they've
haven't
lost.
one. They got swept in every single one.
They just can't make it out of the Eastern Conference finals. And I mean, you're facing the wrong team to try to make it out.
Yeah.
Florida was a great team.
Florida's
And
an animal.
now we're finally, after every game, the finals. We've only been through 4 games so far. The series is tied 2-2. It's been some crazy games. Like, honestly, this has been the most interesting playoffs I feel like I've seen. I love these playoffs.
With the thing is, with this series, everyone thinks Florida's going to dominate. But when you have a guy like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on your team, I am absolutely meat riding right now.
You are because
I'm meat riding,
Honestly-
but for a good reason. Like, look
Yes.
at the guy.
I know.
He's generational. He's doing stuff that Wayne Gretzky did in a league that is 10 times harder than it was back
I
then.
feel like you don't have McDavid, you don't have Draisaitl. The team, it drops down to like a low playoff or out of the playoff team.
Yeah.
Just replace him with any average dude who's on the first line.
And the difference between Florida and Edmonton is you have yes, but you have a team that's well rounded on Florida's side, and then a team that's just heavily carried by 2 guys and
Yeah.
and
Florida's got
that's
the whole
really
team
it. Like,
contributing. But I mean, even though Edmonton has had a lot more, I feel like even in these finals, they've had a lot like rounded scoring, right? But just in general, I feel like the goaltending is less far than you guys are saying. Because like Pickard is 7-0
Yeah,
in
yeah.
playoff games. Stu, on the other hand,
If
is
this guy was
doing
not from
something bad on that
If he was
side.
not from Edmonton, he would not be a starting goalie in the NHL.
I mean, he hasn't done awful, but he hasn't been doing good enough.
Edmonton, if they had a decent goalie, you throw Frederick Anderson, you throw any mid goalie in there, maybe even John Gibson.
Do you think they trade for a goalie
Oh yeah,
next year?
I think the reason they
Or
don't
this
have
offseason?
I think the
this
reason they don't,
offseason?
I think the reason they don't have one is because every team's too afraid of them if they do. Because
Yeah.
if you look at that team with a good goalie, they're winning everything.
Like, what's a
Goaltending's their problem.
What's a goalie you think they would even?
John Gibson.
I was about to bring that up.
Yeah.
I actually have a point in that later on, which I'll bring up.
Yeah.
But
why don't we
Gibson is
segue
definitely.
I just think-
because
Oh
it's
wait,
too far.
right.
Edmonton in general is the yin to 2020 Montreal's yang. They're the opposite. 2020 Montreal was goalie centered. They won because of their goalie. Edmonton is here because of their players.
Yes.
And their goalies have not helped them along the way very much.
That's an understatement.
So
I mean, not to say that the games that Edmonton have lost have been only because of the goalies. Their players have not like whatever.
Their defense
Yeah.
needs a lot
Yeah,
more.
their defense is it's specifically two players on their team who just don't stop. Like Edmonton and Draisaitl just don't stop. They've carried
Edmonton
that.
and Draisaitl?
Yep.
You gonna roll with it?
Yeah.
Edmonton and Draisaitl.
Edmonton and Draisaitl.
He might as well be Edmonton at this
Yeah, he
point.
might as well.
Yeah, there's no point in calling him anything else because he hasn't been Edmonton. I don't think there's any sort of promotional material coming out of Oilers that doesn't have his face on it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he is their guy, and for good reason.
He's their guy for very long.
Well, yeah, we'll see. What do you
Yeah,
guys think
that's,
about that?
That's a hot take.
That's a hot take.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it depends on what happens this year and next year.
Yeah, you think if they win, that
decides
he's
where he's
staying?
going.
I don't think so, though.
You don't think so?
I think
Maybe.
he has
I
had
don't know.
so many problems with that organization. And the thing is, the last thing he needs for that organization is to win. Once he does that,
It's not good enough.
He's either gonna be he just stays there and either like just retires in Edmonton or like does a Wayne Gretzky and just trades to a different team, and that's like the biggest thing on the.
Edmonton will never trade him. Never.
Yeah.
And, well, like trade, I mean like
Like
It's kind of the
if like, he'll sign somewhere else. But like
sign somewhere else.
if he were to ever be traded, Edmonton's front office, everyone be calling for their heads. Not even just Edmonton fans, everybody.
I mean,
the
I
team that
think
gets McDavid.
Edmonton would benefit from a trade, other than just him
yeah.
walking. So I think they would try and get what they could out of it before it's too late.
But that's
Yeah,
that's
like
if they
Marner
know
and
for
the Leafs.
sure that he is not coming back.
Yeah, they need to figure that out for sure.
With the Marner with the Leafs thing, that is purely because the Leafs thought they were going to do something in the playoffs. Which,
Yeah.
surprise, they didn't.
I called it
Yeah.
from the beginning. I said if they didn't go anywhere,
Yeah,
he's
so
leaving.
did history. History called that too.
No, everybody disagreed. Everyone I talked to, all the Leafs fans, all our friends that we talked to,
that's the
all
problem.
disagreed.
We're all Leafs fans.
Everybody disagreed.
Leafs fans
We're
will say, "This is
delusional."
our
Delusional.
year. This
Don't
is
worry, guys.
our year."
Next year
Our-
is the year.
God.
Next year is the year, guys. We got Matthew Nyes.
This
We
is
got
our
Matthew
year.
Nyes.
This is our year.
I swear to
Um,
God, dude.
Anyways, so that's this year's playoffs. Winner still
Up in the air.
up in the air.
What's the predictions looking like?
I think Florida takes it in 7. I think
Really?
Florida takes it in
You
7.
think Florida takes it in
I
7?
would like to see McDavid win. I'm not a big fan of Florida, but I just think Florida ends up just walking past.
Florida's that team that you think, I mean, that anyone thinks could take this. Like, it's not like you think that even though, like, I feel like even Edmonton fans are like, Florida still's got this.
Yeah.
Like, it's still up in the air. I mean, it's a 2-2 series. The last game they played, I mean, that was close.
It guaranteed goes to 7.
Florida was up so early in
Yeah.
last game. And I think, like, even, like, I got home from work, and my parents were like, oh, yeah, Edmonton lost. I didn't even check the score. I was like, oh, really? Like, it's that bad? And then you see Edmonton coming back, and it's like, you know, they have it, but Florida just dominates like that. They're always there.
I think honestly, the future of the series depends on this coming game, because if Florida doesn't bounce back from what happened last game, if they don't bounce back, like if Florida wins this next game, then you know that they can bounce back from a hard loss like that, and they could go on to win. But if they don't, it's either downhill from there, or they gotta struggle to get back up.
Yeah, I also think that even if this goes to Game 7, Edmonton doesn't have the same home ice advantage that other teams do. I don't think they're that much. Like, think of like other teams like Florida.
Are you guys nuts? Edmonton has the best home ice advantage.
No shot.
Okay,
Think of, like, Winnipeg.
Montreal's a different story, and so is Winnipeg. But compared to Florida,
Okay, you're
Compared
just
to
used to
Florida?
Toronto having a bunch of business.
Florida's not-
Sitting there doing
Florida
nothing.
is like
Florida,
their space is not
half
bad.
of their fans don't even know what the sport is.
Yeah, and they still cheer
And they still
like
cheer,
crazy.
yeah, they still cheer
No,
like
They're
crazy.
going
Edmonton's crazier.
insane.
Edmonton's crazier. And when you have a guy like McDavid,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it does not matter if you like. Florida is the most dominant team. I don't deny that. My thing is though, when you have McDavid and you have Draisaitl, you have a chance to win.
Yeah,
No
you got to work
matter
with what you
what.
got. You can't just put it all on them and
I think it's
I mean,
Edmonton. and
there's a
Florida.
reason both teams are. The series is 2-2 right now. Both teams have a chance.
yeah.
I think Edmonton got that last game off a bit of a thread, especially seeing that overtime goal, which was a bit of a weak one by Draisaitl.
But it's
A garbage
did it
goal
when
is a
they
goal.
counts.
A garbage goal is a goal. But
Ask how. Ask how
it
many.
leaves you thinking for series to come, is that going to happen again?
Yeah.
And like, if it doesn't happen again, and he's in that same situation, maybe Florida wins that
See,
game.
but the thing is, though, the guy just knows where to beat a score.
Yeah,
Like he was in the right spot at the right time, and he put it in the right spot.
there's a reason he's got 4 OT winners right now in the playoffs. He's the right guy to score. He's just that guy,
Yeah.
and that's all you got to think about.
Another thing is too, though, is like if you look at some of his goals, there's a lot of there's a lot of ones where like he had a very good assist that came to him. Not just McDavid, but other
obviously.
guys
Alright.
do it as well.
Well,
So is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
I think
playoffs?
that's good for. I mean, we didn't really do too much breakdown, but we did,
A general
like,
playoff.
a general
recap.
playoff recap and our opinions and our thoughts. So which I
Who do
think
you guys
is
think is going to win just quickly? MVP, playoff MVP.
Playoff MVP.
McDavid again?
No,
You've been glazing McDavid this whole time.
no,
man.
he
You gonna
won't
hold your word?
unless they win it. Like if they win
Yeah,
the
I
cup,
think if they win it, it's
it's
definitely him.
him. But
I
if
don't think
it's
they're gonna
not,
do the same
it's
thing they did
no.
last time.
I think if Florida wins, it's Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
I think it's Sam Bennett
possible.
because he's just.
I mean, he's
playing
been
unreal.
top playoff scorer so far, right?
Not just that, he's just been playing good in general. Like,
Yeah,
I can't pick out another guy on Florida that's been playing better than him, in my opinion. I can't pick another player out.
Yeah, because he scored the most goals.
No, in general, like,
Would you be shocked if Marchand got it?
no, because he'd be the guy I'd say second after
Really?
Bennett.
Really?
I would say that
Second?
because who the hell else did they have?
Carter, a bunch of guys.
Carter Verhaeghe has been. Kachuk's kind of just been.
I really think Florida doesn't really have a second.
Seth Jones kind of been out the door.
Yeah, I know.
Seth Jones is the
pretty
reason
good.
why the Leafs lost.
I really think
That one game at least.
there's no second for Florida. I think it's Sam Bennett and Sam Bennett only because he has just played. He's been the guy for Florida. He's been the McDavid for Florida, except for McDavid's a little bit worse if it's Sam Bennett. But yeah, I think he's been that guy.
Yeah.
Who do you think?
No, I agree. I think it's
Okay,
Sam
yeah,
Bennett.
great.
No, I think it's Sam Bennett, and if Edmonton wins, it's McDavid.
It kind of has to be.
Those are the.
Like what?
I wouldn't be shocked if Marchand got it. I would laugh. I think
I
it would
wouldn't
be
be shocked if
funny.
Draisaitl.
That's what I was gonna say. Dark horse, Draisaitl getting it
Yeah.
if they won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Yeah, I can see that
I
too.
could see it.
I mean, he's shown up. He's been the clutch player. That
I-
Stuart Skinner.
No, Alvin Pickard.
yeah.
See, the thing is though, I think McDavid gets it if they win. Like he has to step up in the next few games. 'Cause he's been playing well. He's been playing McDavid but not to the point where I'm like, yeah, McDavid is like just unreal completely. Like he is the best player.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. But the thing is though, to me he hasn't been playing up to that level that he could be.
If Draisaitl
He's
continues
producing.
getting like the goals they need to win, like he keeps getting the clutch, he's gonna get like the MVP.
Yes.
But if McDavid like just plays his game and keeps winning the games for them, he's gonna get MVP. That's sort of what it is.
Actually, you know what? Dark horse for Florida. Alexander Barkov.
Wasn't there something on him and not doing enough or something?
He hasn't been producing.
Not yet.
He hasn't been producing, but the thing is though,
Well,
he's defensive minded and he has that defensive presence to him that can win you a game. Like obviously he can't lock down a guy like McDavid because McDavid's just a goddamn animal. But like you put him on a second line, you put him against like Vander Kane, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, like Are we dead ass? Like
That's getting cut.
that's
getting
I can't even say what I'm gonna say now because this guy just literally ruined it. Because that's gonna get cut.
I think it was gonna be cut the whole time because I had leaned down and
Yeah.
caught the deal for a second.
All right. Well,
let's go.
So
Yeah.
Ref
that's
reviews.
that's the
Yeah, I mean that's the general
That's the
playoff.
general
It's not
playoff
over,
recap.
but like so far up until the fourth game is over, this is what we've seen in the playoffs. This is our review.
our
And now
consensus
we're,
and our view. And
now we're gonna go to my part.
We're gonna go into the refs review.
Yeah, we're gonna review some refs calls, and these guys are gonna see if the refs did a good job or if they did a bad job, whichever one you want to agree with.
Yeah. All right.
This is going to be, this is obviously the game one of Dallas-Winnipeg. This is just at the end of the first period or about. Winnipeg is finishing their power play. It's still 0-0. And let's see this play. And let's see if you guys believe that this is a penalty or not. I'm going to show you two views because each one will have two views. One that is the broadcast view and another one that is a closer view that they just replay.
And we have to guess.
And you guys have to
they
guess
were called a
if
penalty
they
or
were
not.
called a penalty or not.
Okay.
All right. You guys ready? There you go. So that's the first clip. That is the
Did it go
broadcast
in?
view. It did not go in. That was not a goal. Now we're going to go to part two. So this is going to be the same clip. All right. You ready?
Yep.
Bang. All right. Now, what do you guys think after seeing that play and you guys want to see it again?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
I wouldn't put it past. I wouldn't put it past. it to
So
not be
let's
called.
see. So if it were to be a penalty, what would you guys think it would be?
Tripping.
Tripping. So that'd be a tripping penalty on
CC.
Dallas. Yeah. So
I'd probably say interference, but I could.
so you'd say interference.
The first look to me, I thought it was gonna be like a cross check because I thought it was on the numbers.
Mhm.
But then the second look, his stick's not even up. Stick's down here. So
But I also don't. I think it's more of a defensive play.
yes, I think he's going for the puck.
And to be clear, the ref is on the left of them in the corner. So the ref.
He has a
You
perfect view
did
of it.
see a perfect view.
Yeah. So
I think it's not.
I don't think it's a penalty.
so you guys are agreeing that you do
I
not think this is a penalty.
I don't, something tells me it is a penalty.
It's not a penalty. You guys are actually right there.
Okay.
The refs agreed that it wasn't a penalty. Yeah, it was at the end of a power play that Dallas had just given Winnipeg. So my guess is the refs definitely didn't want to give another.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't particularly bad.
It wasn't.
It wasn't
bad.
vicious or anything.
So we're getting into part two.
This is the second one.
This is the second one. This is actually earlier in the game, but it is the second one I'm showing. All right, yeah. So this is the same game. This is a little earlier on. Winnipeg has the puck. And then you got Mason Marchment coming in. All right. So that's the first clip. Did you guys see?
Yeah.
So what are some original thoughts on that first clip?
I don't think so.
I think that is.
You think it is?
I think it is because.
I think his stick just gets
All
caught
right.
in there.
So let's quickly go. I'll show you the second view.
Yeah, we'll.
Let's
Just press play and then.
All right. So here's the play. Mason Marchment gets stuck on Pionk.
But he let.
Yeah, I don't see a world. I don't see a world where that's not.
Yeah, I think he holds on to the stick. I think he's got to let it go. If he doesn't want that to be a call, he's got to let it go.
I don't see a world where that's not called holding.
Okay.
Not holding, but
Or
hooking.
hooking or something along those
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I think it definitely
Yeah,
could be.
so the playoffs are known for having a bit less penalties called, right? So you'd think that this wasn't called, but you guys are saying
It was.
that Pionk got a penalty,
No.
No.
that
We're saying
Marchment got a
Marchment
penalty.
got a penalty.
Yeah, so Marchment did actually get a penalty for that,
Yes, okay,
and
that's
he
what I
was
assumed.
very pissed.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah,
It is a little soft though.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
so-
in terms of
I mean,
playoff
you go back
standards,
in
a
the
little
penalty.
soft. He's got to let go of the stick.
Yeah, he's got to let go of the stick. I mean, so that's obviously.
He could have dumped it there though.
He could have just dropped the stick
He
there.
could have nobody like Pionk
Yeah.
could have dumped it there, and because of this, he couldn't dump it.
Yeah, so I think
that I do see where that
the
could have
biggest
been
thing is that
interference or whatever the hell.
for a hooking penalty, you're essentially not letting them do what they originally would do in a way that is illegal, is the penalty. And you can see pretty obviously that Pionk in this play was trying to dump it. And because Marchment is there, he's not able to dump it, which means that it is a penalty. I think a lot of people were on the side of Marchment and where it was Pionk's penalty because he was grabbing onto his stick.
But the thing is, though, he's also grabbing his stick at the same time, trying to dump it. So that's just a knee-jerk reaction for him. He's not
100%.
trying to do that.
Yeah. So it's a pretty decisive penalty, but you guys are 2 for 2 so far. You guys are doing good. Now we're on to this last one. This is in the third. This is during a much, much more important part of the game. Yeah, Dallas is up. I mean, we know how this game ends.
Yeah.
So, but let's see. So they're headed into the corner. And now they're coming out. Right here. And bang. So, he drops on the ground. What do you guys see from that? What's your first reactions?
Okay. My first reaction is that it could go either way. It could very easily go either way.
I think in the regular season that's a clear call. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think more, but like looking at, I think it was Niederreiter the one that interfered with him. But like to me, it looks like you can see his eyes. He can see him coming all the way.
Yeah.
Look, he sees him coming all the way, and he sticks out his ass.
Elbow to the head. That's an elbow to the head. Yeah, that's an elbow to the head.
Yeah, and that's not a normal way to do that. Like,
We'll look at the second.
Yeah,
Like, look,
let's
here.
see the second view.
he sees him coming, and then he sticks out the elbow.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
you're
penalty.
saying that Robertson comes in and doesn't know, and he gets him in that. Oh my God, it's not
I
letting
mean,
me.
the ref is clearly looking at this.
Yeah, but it could be the other ref though from center ice.
Yeah. Well, it's Robertson too.
Yeah, Robertson goes in, and
I think
you guys are saying he drops out the elbow.
Sticks out his elbow.
So
I think if the ref doesn't call this, I think it's because he can't see it because there's 2 guys going in front of him and it's on the other side of the body.
I could see a world where this isn't called.
I can't.
I
can't.
I would probably say it is a penalty, but I can see a world where it isn't.
Another thing is the only reason why I say it is because I can clearly see it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a bit different.
we do
for a
have
ref
the privilege of being able to watch it multiple times over.
and stop it as well.
Yeah, so the ref,
So I need some final verdicts from you guys.
we can't split.
You can't. Well, you can split, but then one of you is right and one of you is wrong, and because both of you have been right both times, if you split, one of you loses.
I think it's a penalty.
So we got
I think,
penalty over
I think
here.
it's a clear elbow. Like he clearly turns around and sticks.
You want you want to split it and maybe get the win, or do you want to go for the safe play?
for the win and split here, or I go with you and.
Well, really, you should just go with your gut, because either way, if you go with your gut, you'll win, because hopefully you'll be right.
That's not how that works.
Well, if you go against him just to go
You
against
know
him,
what?
then you're wrong.
I think they did call this.
Yeah, you think they called this?
I think so.
Well,
I have a doubt that they did.
that's unfortunate.
They didn't.
Because you're right. Yeah, they called this one.
Thank
That
God.
was a penalty. So you guys are 3 for 3.
What do you mean you knew it? You were on the fence the
So,
entire
I
time.
knew it.
So
No, you didn't.
mean, we've pretty lightly proved it, but the refs are pretty fair in this.
I think
All these penalties haven't really been too much decisive. Like, they might have been decisive in the moment, but they seem like they made the right call in the end.
Yes.
Playoffs are kind of known. I mean, like, there are some. I mean, James, you was talking about Toronto game and a few of the calls made then.
Well, it's more of the not calls that were.
Yeah.
And obviously, every team's gonna have their bias, and they're gonna want to fish for anything they can get. But I mean, the difference is though is when you have a series that gets as heated as it does, it can be hard to like give one call or the other. But I think when you have a game that starts getting out of control, you have to do something about it, and they just didn't.
Yeah, I think this also helps that it was game one.
Yes.
Game one, they don't really have any like
they gotta
outstanding
set the
history. This is like just starting out, so they're not doing anything crazy right now. Yeah, I think it wasn't super hard. I didn't go all out, but
No, I think it was pretty good. I think we did.
Yeah.
Really,
no, I mean I think the refs it's pretty obvious that they make the right call in the end,
yeah.
and especially when seeing overview, they don't always make the right call, but obviously they've done the right in this one.
It's also like they're doing it at such a fast pace. It's hard to see. For us, we have the luxury of them slowing it down.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
getting to pause it, but
But it's obvious
for
that
them,
they've done a good job. All right.
Yeah. Well,
So we'll move back.
Anaheim Ducks.
Okay, so we're gonna get into Anaheim.
So yeah, we'll get into the Anaheim breakdown.
Yeah.
This is going to be the first of many of the team
Yeah, this is
breakdowns that we're going to do.
The
every
ABCs of
episode.
NHL. Yeah.
So we're going to go from A to Z. This episode, we're going to start with the Anaheim Ducks. We all did our collective research.
Yeah.
And we will start off with
Yeah, so I'm coming in and I'm going to be talking about how the Anaheim Ducks did this year with some injuries and the reasons they happened this year to end up where they did.
Yeah.
So Anaheim Ducks, they finished 6th in the Pacific Division, which is it's not a particularly hard or easy division. I'd say it's a pretty average one.
I mean, when you have a team that was in the Stanley Cup final, I think it's still a decently hard division.
Yeah, but they all kind of do. So that's kind of how it works. They always have one in the conference final. But Anaheim ended up with 35 wins, 37 losses, 10 overtime losses. And I mean, a pretty bad record if you ask me. I mean, less wins than losses plus overtime losses brings them even way more than that. I mean, it definitely shows you why they ended up 6th.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question about it. It's not like, I don't know, something like the Blue Jays always being in such a division where they can never make it.
No, teams definitely rise and teams definitely fall.
Yeah.
Like, look at Vancouver last year when they were going to the playoffs. They were one of the bigger teams, but this year they didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, they were close, but yeah.
They're close, but
Yeah, the Ducks pulled away players this year have been like Kutagoche, Leo Carlson, two pretty young players, but have been driven to their top line. Just because the Ducks, I mean, in general, their problem is that they don't have that guy. They don't have their number one to bring them ahead. I wouldn't say anybody on their team is particularly awful, but they just don't have the guy, the star player. Yeah, I mean, so that is the biggest problem is that Trevor Zegras was supposed to be their star guy.
Yeah.
But ended up, I don't know, now he's third line center.
just regressed.
Yeah, he's
bad.
regressed to third line center, and he can't pull what they need him to pull.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see his stats. He's -8 on the year, and he only scored 12 goals. I mean, he was out for, I want to say, what was it, like 7 weeks? No.
I think it's Dixie D'Amelio's fault.
Oh, is he dating her?
You know he's dating Dixie D'Amelio?
No.
So he's placed on injured
I
reserve
don't know if he still
on
is. I know he was.
December 8th, and he got off on the 21st. So he was gone for about 3 weeks.
He got hit with the baddie effect.
Yes. So Zegras fall off because of Dixie D'Amelio, but also just he was injured, but he also just never produced. Probably because of Dixie D'Amelio. Blah blah blah.
He was thinking about when their next TikTok was coming.
Yeah. 32 points on the season. I mean, you can't have that from what's supposed to be your top guy. 32 points on the season in total.
Yeah.
Penalty minutes 23. Nothing really. But his average time on ice is 17 minutes, which like your top guy, I feel like typically is like 23 or something.
Well, yeah, that's kind of a lot. But yeah, between 19 to 22, 21.
Yeah, also,
17's on the lower end. It's not on the lowest because there are good players that are like 14, 15 minutes. 17's middle of the road. But yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing really too much to say about them. I mean, their lines are pretty lackluster. Their defense don't really have anything crazy. I mean, Trouba,
Trouba is he's not, like, he's a physical player. He's a mid defenseman, but he's just not to the point of that stardom that they wanted him to be.
I think what they got him for was good for them. They didn't give away a lot, really. And actually, they got back what they gave away for Trouba, or in a sense. Which I'll get into when I get to my part.
Yeah,
but I mean, their defense aren't really the worst. They are on the lower end, but they're not like horrible.
I mean, Gudas is on them. He's not awful, but like I mean, a lot of these guys are just kind of forgettable. They got Zellweger.
Lacombe was good in the World Series or whatever the world's whatever you want to call it. The one that the
World Championships?
Yeah, World Championships. He was doing pretty good. Zellweger is all right, and I think they just need another defensive piece.
Yeah.
Somehow.
I mean, and they looked for that in Jacob Trouba, who they got on December 6th.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was because of the Rangers, right? The Rangers problems.
I think another thing is with going back to Zellweger, he needs to take a step forward, a big step forward. They lost Jamie Drysdale because of the Kutagoche thing with Philadelphia, so those were their two prospects in terms of their D. They had to
they had to have both of them step up, and obviously they lost Draisaitl
Drysdale. I can't speak. But so now they need Zellner to be that guy that will be their franchise player.
Yeah, and he sort of hasn't been so far. I mean, that's kind of the story of the Anaheim Ducks' life, is that the guys who they need to show up and be their top players just haven't.
Yeah.
And their bottom guys have just been holding their own, but it's not what you need. You need someone to show up. Their goalies, I mean, they're not bad.
They have a pretty tight goalie battle between John Gibson and Luke. Because you have a proven guy in Gibson who's been their guy for years. Now you got Dostal who's been lighting things up.
I definitely think their goalies are the best aspect of the team in general.
Yeah.
But you're looking at a team that doesn't have many good aspects, so the best one isn't the best thing to look
And
at.
that's as of right now. And I
Yeah,
guess like segueing into,
I can do a little bit more. I mean, so just looking at their first power play unit, like you can get like first power play units on any team, you always think about like, oh, this is their guys. They got Chris Kreider, McTavish, Troy Terry, Olin Zellweger, and Cutter Gauthier.
They don't even have Leo Carlson on there.
Yeah,
it's not
none
like
of those guys are like, oh, he's gonna do it. He's gonna score all their goals. All those guys are just like, yeah, they're there, they're on the team, but they're not the standout guy they need, and that's their power play.
Yeah, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. They're not bad. When you think of Anaheim, you think of those players, and
I mean, they're sixth. They don't have like a glaring flaw, but they don't have a glaring flaw on their team, but they don't have a shining light. Like they don't have anything that brings them out.
yeah, and I don't put it past them. I think they're definitely going to go up, and they're not going down. With the group of guys they have, and especially with the new coaching change, which we'll all get into in a second. I definitely think they are going up and they're not going down.
Yeah, and just we talked about injuries for a second there with Zegras, but they had a few pretty bad injuries during the season. I mean, they traded Vakanainen, so he wasn't on their team for a while he was injured. They just got Kreider, who is injured right now, which is not a good thing to be going in off to being injured. I mean, he should be healed by the time the season starts, but it's still not good.
It could be a fresh start for him, and that might be what he needs.
Yeah, but it could also be a fresh break if he breaks it again. It's not good to have an injury. I mean, I had the goalie, Vancouver goalie on my team.
Thatcher Demko.
Demko on my team. I mean, he was amazing last year. Like last year.
Yeah.
And
2 years ago.
this year, 2 years ago, he was really good. This year, he's injured to start. You think he's going to be really good to come back, and he's awful. Like, he played awful. And so you hope that that's not your guy coming back like Kreider. If they just get him, and he comes back and he's bad.
Yeah.
And so you just can't have that. Yeah, they had a few other pretty important injuries, but nothing crazy. Nothing that would have changed the team's direction had he not been injured.
Yeah.
So, going into
actually the coach change, which I'll start with just briefly. Anaheim hired Joel Quenneville as their head coach on May 8th, I believe.
That's dear to your heart, though.
I'm hyped for Anaheim this coming season. I don't think they're going down, like I said. I think they are going up. Quenneville has a record of 969, 572, and 150 with 77 ties. So, and he's currently second in NHL history behind Scotty Bowman for head coaches of with the most wins. He coached St. Louis, Colorado, Chicago, and Florida. And he won the Stanley Cup 3 times with the Blackhawks. And I think he can definitely lead the team with the younger guys. He's basically working with, I'm not going to say the 2010 Blackhawks, but he's working with the age range of those 2010 Blackhawks, or maybe just a little younger.
Yeah. So he knows how to deal with them.
I think he's going to be able to deal with them and bring them to what they should be.
That is the other thing about the Anaheim Ducks, is that they don't really have that veteran on their team.
They don't have that
That's what Kreider could turn into.
Kreider could turn into, but also a coach that could make them into those veterans that would help. And I think he could do it.
Yes. And the Anaheim Ducks have $38 million in projected cap space and a maximum hit of $63 million. They sit currently third in the list of teams with the most cap space this offseason.
Yeah.
So they have a lot to work with.
They're a team that could, with the correct management, turn around.
They
They can make one big splash, and they could even make a second one if they really get lucky with it.
This is the off season to make make splashes and
I could see 1 or 2 seasons from now them being in the playoffs and having a decent run.
And I think right now they have 16 active players on their roster with 33 under contract, and I think they're going to be able to manage their money properly this offseason because there are a lot of guys. There are not a lot of guys on RFAs and UFAs that they have to they don't have to spend a lot of money on and re-sign. But there are a lot of guys they could grab, and there's a lot of guys I've actually found that Ducks fans are wanting to go after and excited about. So for UFAs, they don't really have any noticeable UFAs that I could right now. Looking at the daily face-off roster, none of the UFAs are on the roster as of right now. If they're prospects for the future, I wouldn't know. But they aren't.
We'll get in.
Yeah, they're not really. They don't look like they're gonna be that big of a deal. So I don't know if they're gonna be re-signed or not or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And their most notable RFAs include Isaac Lundstrom, Brett Leeson, Lucas Dostal, and Mason McTavish, which
Two big names.
names that I think they are going to
100%.
re-sign.
Yeah.
I don't see a world where they get rid of Dostal. And I don't see a world where they get rid of
I
McTavish.
think they're gonna have a tough time with Dostal though, because they're in their talks. They're gonna have to talk about is he gonna be the starter, and that's what
I'll
gonna have to talk about.
I'll get into that.
Yeah.
I do strongly believe, depending on the start of next season, how goalie situations might go for this team, because it is a big thing.
Just to go on what Anaheim needs. This past year, they were 30th in goals for. They were 27th in penalty kill and 32nd in power play.
Yeah.
They need 100% some forwards who can do that job. Like 30th in goals for, you can't be much farther back. And 32nd in power play, you can't be farther back.
Yeah.
And so you need someone who's able to produce on that. So they got to find some person who can be that guy to get them from that 30th. Because it seems from those stats that they shouldn't be 6th in Pacific, but 8th.
Yeah.
And so I think they've done better than expected this year, especially off of those stats. But they just need to show up and get some guys who can fix those stats.
Yeah. And talking about getting guys, their most recent signing, or actually their most recent transaction or trade, I guess, is they traded prospect Kerry Terrence, I think, his last name, as well as a 2025 third-round pick for Chris Kreider and a fourth-round pick from the New York Rangers, which was originally their pick from the Trouba trade.
Yeah.
So they got their pick back. I don't know what the other aspect of that trade was specifically, but they did get their pick back.
Yeah. Chris Kreider is one I can see going wrong just as much as I can see it going right.
Yeah.
I feel like some trades are so obviously like, oh, this was like, I think this is a good step direction for the team, but Kreider, I mean, I can see it going wrong if the injury is too not what he needs, but I can also see it being exactly what they need.
Yeah, I don't know if the injury is going to be too I don't know. Well, we don't know the extent of the injury, so we don't know if it's going to be I'm going off of it being it's just a simple hand injury. He's gonna be ready for off season
He's gonna be ready for
ready
for preseason.
Yeah, preseason and all that stuff. So
and
he'll be fine, I think. But yeah, they got a lot to work with. Another one of the recent signings is they signed 19-year-old Lucas Pettersson to a 3-year entry-level contract at $870,000. So I don't see him playing anytime soon.
No.
He could possibly do a half in the AHL next season and half in the NHL, depending on how he plays.
I think they have so many guys coming up now. I don't think I see a world where he plays
I don't
this
think
year.
so either.
At least more than 20 games.
But yeah, he'll definitely be a piece that they can work with in the future. But now talking about the big names, Mitch Marner is all over the Ducks Reddit feed.
Yeah.
All over.
Yeah.
Some are
Fans want
mixed.
Mitch.
Some are mixed. Some don't want to spend the money on Mitch. Some do. I think it would be beneficial for Anaheim.
And for Marner.
And for Marner too, because I do think they're gonna go somewhere in the future, like we said. I think he'll definitely be their face. He'll be that. He'll like you said.
Like
be
I
that
said,
guy on the
they
power
need their
play.
guy, and Marner could show up to be that guy.
I think another thing though is that like Marner might not want to go there.
Yeah.
Because he said he wants to be on a winning team. And it's not that they're not going to be a winning team. It's that he wants to be on one now.
Yes.
So he wants to go to like a Carolina, a Dallas, some team that is already proven that they can win and make the play.
Which personally,
Just
I
doing
don't like to see. Yes, I'd like to see him succeed. I like Marner. I have no problem with him. I'd like to see him do something, but I wouldn't like to see him go on a team that's already doing good and doesn't really need.
Yeah, just coasting.
They just want to like.
But he could go on a team like, say, LA, that just need one more missing piece. Like
Yes.
like a pure.
I wouldn't be
pure
mad with
top
LA.
player.
I would be a little frustrated with Carolina and Dallas and Vegas, especially Vegas.
I think-
and Florida. Those 4 teams, I think I don't think Marner should go to. Just
I don't think
in my
they-
opinion. I think it would be good for him in a way. Kind of. There's other guys that have. I mean, I would like him to go to the Blackhawks, but I don't really see him in like teams like Utah, Chicago, Anaheim, Columbus. Even I don't really see him going. Like he could go to any of those teams. I think it could be possible. I think. Well, what I have is Anaheim's willing to give $14 million to Marner for him to to sign him, which is insane, and I don't think another team is willing to do that.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, Marner comes from Toronto where the money was pretty flowing.
Yeah.
And so it's good that you said Anaheim was 3rd highest in cap space.
Yes.
So they were able to
They're
flow that
able
money.
to flow that money right to him.
Yeah.
And there's no issue. If he's willing to wait, he's definitely going to either sign with some of these lower end teams that are rebuilding or at least at the end of the rebuild where
He's
if he waits a couple of years and he builds and develops more of into how he was playing this year, because he's definitely not keeping this year's status up.
The problem is though is the fact that he's going to be 30 soon.
Yeah.
He's getting to that age where like it's now or never because he's almost out of his prime. He's up to that age where he's not a kid anymore and he's turning into a bit of a veteran. He's up there in age.
Yeah, I think he does still have a couple more years till he gets to that. But there are other older players there's Crosby and there's Marchand and who's still that player that are older. But it's not, they're not the same. Marner's not the same. But yeah, that's Mitch Marner. Another one I've been seeing a lot of is Jason Robertson. A lot of Ducks fans have him on their wish lists, which involves a trade with Zegras.
Which I think they can afford.
I think they could afford getting Robertson,
Yeah.
getting rid of Zegras and maybe a couple extra guys, and then a pick or two, which would help Dallas because they don't have the money to keep guys. And
I
get
feel like Robertson has that potential that could be opened if he moves to another team. I feel like he's not fully open on Dallas. I feel like he's got more to give.
I think he got too comfortable because he's their number one guy and he knows that. But I think he just got too comfortable and he's been injured and he's just been having so many problems. I think he just
I think if I was a Ducks fan, I like the Ducks, and honestly, I would probably take Robertson over Marner. Just to slot into the guys that are already there. Sorry, Jason would fit, Robertson would fit better with who's on the team already than Marner, in my opinion.
Yeah, I also think
I disagree with you though.
Really?
Because I think with guys like Zegras, Carlson, McTavish, those guys are all pure goal scorers. Maybe not Zegras, but they're pure goal scorers. You need a guy that can offset that. Marner.
Yeah.
Robertson's just another one of those guys that yes he can pass and yes he can be a factor when it comes to playmaking, but he's still a goal scorer at heart. Marner's not that guy. Marner's
Marner's
playmaker.
had to be somebody else.
Exactly. He's had to be that playmaker to Matthews' goal scorer.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they want to get the most out of him.
All right. So for my last point, I have John Gibson. Is he possibly on the chopping block, depending on how Dostal's contract plays out and if he starts next season? If he pops off at the beginning of next season, he could possibly take over that starting goalie, and we could be seeing Gibson get traded at the deadline, which is what most Ducks fans are speculating.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Gibson's role has been slipping on the Ducks team, and he definitely could lose a spot.
Yeah, Dostal is kind of like.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I could see a bunch of teams looking for Gibson because he's a good goalie, and I think Anaheim could definitely use the players. There's a few teams in particular that like I don't know. You guys were thinking, right?
I think like honestly, Gibson is a great goalie. I just don't think that he fits into Anaheim's system anymore. So I think he needs to go somewhere else. And honestly, I could see him going to to New York. And like a dark horse with that is to get him to go over there. You put him in there. You put your first round this year, and maybe throw in Zegras. Maybe I'm kind of against that, but maybe throw in Zegras to get the first overall this upcoming, because then you get a guy like Matthew Schaefer, which is something you need. That or you trade Gibson and maybe some other piece for Noah Dobson. Not obviously Zegras caliber, something smaller. Just all that kind of depends on where they're going.
Yeah, I could see maybe even Gibson getting traded to even San Jose for the pick, and something along those lines.
Something I could also see too is Anaheim waiting till after the draft has taken place, seeing who took Schaefer, and then if it's New York. So if they took Schaefer, what does that mean for Dobson? They go fishing around for questions with the Islanders, seeing what they want to do with Dobson, see if they can. The thing is, though, is that the Islanders don't really want the goalie because they kind of have Varlamov.
Yeah, and Sorokin, but
Sorokin, sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gibson's right now currently on the fence with the Stahl's possible pop off next season. But anyways, going on to Anaheim's prospects and future.
Yeah. So they have. So when I was looking at their prospects, there was two that came out to me that were like they're not playing the NHL team right now, but they will definitely be playing very soon, which is Beckett Seneca and Tim Washi. So Seneca is coming out of the OHL, just came out of the OHL finals with Oshawa. He led that team in goals and points, and he took that team that was a 7th seed going into that playoffs all the way there, where they swept Barrie in the Eastern Conference Final, and then made it all the way to play London, who obviously won the World Cup and is a very good team. But anyway, I think that he just has that goal scoring impact that can very much change. Obviously, they do have a lot of goal scorers already, but I think he can just be that guy in the power play that they can count on to get that one tee off to propel them and have lots of power play point in the future. Washi, on the other hand, he's not as much of a scorer. He's not as much of a. He's obviously gets points like that, but he's more of that leader aspect that they kind of need. Because right now, I don't know if you said earlier, but you said that they have a lot of followers. They need that leader to step up, and I think he can do that because he's proven he's done it with the Western Michigan Broncos. He took them all the way to the national championship this year, and they won it. And he was not first, but he was second in pretty much every stat that brought them up to there. And then so Washi, I think he could definitely be like maybe not the captain, but maybe like an assistant captain, some leadership role, probably five years from now. Something like that. Let him develop a little bit more. Don't give it to him too early because he is not that high of a prospect. I think he's definitely a big prospect for them, but he's not like McDavid level. He's not like Matthews level, where you gotta give him the captain, the assistant captain, like right off the bat. But then the other one for me that I wanted to talk about was Leo Carlson. And Carlson, he's with the team now. He's been with them for the last 2 years, and he was that first round pick they took in. I think he was second or third in 2023. But I think with the production he produced in Sweden's World Championship bid, I think he took a big step forward and had a big spring, which I think is going to lead to a big summer, which is going to lead to a big fall. And he's going to have a huge step up season because he already did step up a little bit with the fact that he produced more. He was probably second or third on the team.
Yeah, so I mean, from the stats, he was about third.
So he was third on the team in scoring, which is a big step for him. And if they want him to truly be that power forward that he was built up to be, I think you just got to take that step forward. He's going to start scoring more. He's going to start producing more.
I think he's got that potential. Leo Carlson, like he's been with the team for a bit, and if he can push that extra bit to be that guy, like he's got the potential. He could do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think he just got that it factor that they need to have that star player, and I think if they get a guy like Marner, he'd be a great piece to add.
Yeah, and like just to finish off Anaheim, like their future, I think they're gonna be middle of the road at least for these next couple years. They're gonna be going up. I don't see them going down.
They're gonna steadily go up the next few years.
Yes, this is their time to buy. This is their time to use what they have, their money, their coaching staff, their everything, and buy into a fresh new team and system going into next year.
I think they just have that development. They just
Yeah.
develop the next few years.
Anaheim's one of those teams that I can see with the right decisions, they can make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So we're moving the game.
And now we're
Yeah, so
moving
we'll
into
move
our
to the
final
game
segment,
segment.
which is their game segment. Courtesy of Father's Day, we are going to be doing a ranking of the father-son duos, a blind ranking of the father-son duos, and their impact.
Yeah.
And
Impact
you
and
two
they're
will
just-
be
yeah.
combined into one team, blind ranking together. So if you guys have any disputes, you have to make sure that they are settled for a certain, rank. So we're gonna get into that. All right, so this is the final segment, the game segment for Father's Day. We're going to be doing a blind ranking of the NHL father-son duos. I have 5 that I'm going to be randomly giving to you guys, and you guys are going to have to blind rank them. And then we're going to be doing a re-rank where you guys are going to re-rank them based off of, like...
Their impact.
Yeah, their impact.
Yeah.
Depending on if you, like... Because you won't know who's coming next, and so we'll see how that re-ranking goes. But we're going to start off... We're going to start off with the newest one, with the Tchucks. Keith Tchuk and Matthew and Brady Tkachuk.
Newest father-son duo. The Chucks were
The most recent.
The most recent that I have on my list, which is kind of a hint, but
I mean, it might
Not
be
really.
recency bias, but like the impact they've had a pretty big impact. Like seeing that like their dad is like he's good. Like he was good when he played, but now the Trucks are both top players on their teams.
I think the thing is, though, is like they've also like in terms of impact, they brought back that toughness and grittiness that was kind of absent from the game.
I mean, thinking of like the Four Nations face-off, them bringing those 3 fights in 9 seconds at the start of that game, it was like everyone was talking about how that was back to old hockey. And it was back to those fights, and the Four Nations was amazing, and partially because of that.
yeah,
so where are you guys thinking of putting
For impact, it's a Chucks. I mean, I'm trying to think of other father-son duos that I think could beat them, and I'm not really sure of too many.
I can think of a few that definitely could be ahead of them.
Okay, so maybe like 2.
I want to say like a 2, like maybe even a 4.
A 4 for impact? You think there's 3 ahead of them?
A 4 or maybe a 3.
No.
I think at least 2 ahead of them right now.
I think these guys are pretty big for impact on the league.
Like they definitely have changed the game in terms of what the modern power forward looks like.
But I feel like if you think father-son duo for hockey, you think of the Chucks.
Yeah.
And like that's impact. That's impact for father-son duo. So I think at least 2.
Yeah, you
There might be more, but I think those are the guys.
Yeah, you convinced me.
And you always have the re-ranking. For now, for the blind rank, we'll put you guys in 2 for Tchuk, the Tchucks.
Yeah.
Next up, we're gonna go Gordy and Mark Howe.
Okay, I'm seeing people who might have more impact than the Chucks on
See,
hockey.
but the thing is though, like Gordy definitely had a huge impact on hockey. Was one of the best.
Yeah,
Is one of the best players of all time.
top 3, top 5 best players of all time.
But in terms of if you're looking at the whole picture of both of them, I wouldn't say that they're above the Kachucks in my opinion. I hate to drop Gordy so low because he's hockey. But in
How
my
much can
opinion-
one person bring it up with one person dragging it down?
Exactly. I think it's just they're so kind of like Mark really brings it down for me and Gordy brings it up high, and it's just kind of that middle ground of. And I think the thing is like obviously Gordy Howe, great player, obviously scored a lot of big goals and did a lot of big things for Detroit and Hartford after a while. And he really pushed on how old you can be to still play the game. But I think the thing is though is in terms of like impacting like a certain thing, like in my opinion, he didn't really impact the game as much as I would have seen in terms of other things. So like I know I'm gonna completely off the board with this, but I'm saying like a 4 in my opinion.
4 for the House. I mean,
Because I can still think of at least 2 more that can go
You're
ahead.
thinking 2 more ahead?
That can go ahead of him.
I'll trust your judgment. I'll trust you. We'll put them at 4.
Okay.
Because I mean, I was convinced that the Chucks wouldn't have many more above them, but then I was like, House, that might be pretty close. So maybe we got some few in between.
I just think he like obviously great player, but the thing is, in terms of my opinion, he just didn't at least for me, he didn't impact the game as much as I would have liked. Because
The thing about the Chucks is all 3 of them were good players.
Yeah, like he also didn't like really bring in anything all that new to the game. He didn't bring in a new aspect. He was still doing the same stuff everyone else was doing. He's just doing it at a higher level. Is the difference.
All right. Well, next up we have Peter and Paul Stastny.
This is one that I'm thinking of. I don't think obviously not a 1. They're not a 5 either, in my
You don't
opinion.
think they're a 5?
No, because Peter just had such a big impact in terms of Europeans, at least the Czechs. So
Maybe,
without
yeah.
Peter, you probably wouldn't have like a, or at least probably not this close. You wouldn't have like a Pasternak or a Jaromir Jagr. Like actually maybe Jagr because he was kind of around the same time. But I think
Yeah.
Peter Cech was just Peter Stastny. I think was just like he was such a big impacted player for those smaller European countries. They're not the Nordics. And they're not the Russians either. So you got like guys from like Slovenia, Slovakia, Czech Republic, like all these smaller countries. I think he really pushed the envelope of bringing them to the NHL.
I think that's true, but you also have the same problem with the Gordie Howe, Mark Howe.
But Paul stats for me is just that much better than like if you're going
That was better than Gordie Howe.
No, Mark Howe.
Than Mark Howe.
I'm just saying in terms of we're looking at impact. I think that it has to be that. I think it has to be them at 3 because
3. Wow.
we always have 3 rank.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that they're ahead of because again, Gordie Howe. He was a great player. He wasn't bringing anything new. He was just doing everything better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And Mark he didn't really do it for me. The only reason, like, I don't want to say the only reason he was in the league was because of dad, but he only like his more productive years was when he was playing with his dad in Hartford.
Yeah.
Paul didn't do that. Paul was not kind of that nepo baby. That was he kind of made it.
He had his own. He had his own come up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I can agree with that. I can see a 3. I feel like I hear their name and I'm kind of like like really? Like I hear the House and I'm like oh yeah the House. This is the House. This is Gordie Howe.
Yeah.
But I hear Stastny, so I'm kind of just like, I don't know. Like, he played. I know he played. I know he was good, but I'm not like, oh, it's Gordie Howe.
Yeah.
Really.
So
But
3.
I'm agreeing with 3. I think that's fair.
I think
Because they were both well-off players.
Okay, so we'll land them in 3. Next up, we have Bobby and Brett Hall.
This is 1 for me. No doubt in my mind, this is 1 because not only do you have the impact of Bobby in creating like him and Stan Mikita literally made curved sticks nowadays. So without them doing that would not even
Stepping
be a
on their
thing.
sticks in the basement.
Exactly. And I think that's just such a big thing about hockey now is you don't have the modern hockey stick without them doing that. Maybe at least not to the point where we are today. And then Brett obviously pushed the envelope of goal scoring. He was just the absolute purest goal scorer you'll ever see. Like he was maybe not the best on defense, maybe not the best in terms of transition, but he could just score you a goal when you needed a goal. And I think that's just such a big thing when in terms of teams like if you look at when he won the cup with Dallas, he scored that big goal right at the end of the game to win them the whole series in the cup. So I think he just had that impact on so many of these smaller teams like St. Louis, like Dallas. Even when he played for Detroit, he was still a great player. Like, and I think that just kind of sets him apart from all these other guys. Is you have 2 guys that are just great. Like they're some of the greats of the game. In terms of the Kachucks, like they're just not to that caliber, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue this. Yeah, it's Bobby and Brett Hall. I mean, what am I gonna say? I want them at 5. This is pretty easily off on a 1 here, and I'm not angry about it. I think these guys are a pretty easy 1. They've done so much for the game, and no one can argue that.
All right, I'm slotting them in 1, and
So we're leaving
last
last guys
off,
at
you
5.
have 5. You have
Hope
Jean-Paul Parise and Zach Parise.
I'm fine with that.
Oh, I know, but I feel like impact on the game, like thinking
Zach Parise was definitely a big impact when it came to American-born hockey players.
Yeah, 100%. Like I feel like
2010 Olympics.
yeah, 100%. I mean, every time I hear the Parise, I think about the Olympics and that like if you don't have Parise, you don't have that goal at the end of the final of the goal game, and you don't have Crosby's goal. And then Crosby doesn't have his breakout goal, and he's not the same that he is right now.
It's true.
Like you don't have what Crosby had in that game with that golden goal, bringing Canada together, right under Crosby, bringing them up. So Parise, I mean, as a Canadian, brought up Canadians, which is kind of ironic, but is just such a big name to me that it kind of sucks but looking at the names above him, it's kind of like these are all really prolific players. And so, even though he did have that 1 goal as a career, I'd say it wasn't better than any of the guys above. So I'm coming to terms with playing him at 5.
I think people also underestimate him and just how much of an impact he had on North American hockey. Because in terms of he made it big in the U.S. because of being just one of the great American players to this day, and he just had such great longevity. And I think he's still even playing. I think he retired last year.
Yeah.
But he just pushed the envelope of that American players can be great, and they can still, even though they might not be the most technically skilled, they can still be great players and last a very long time in the league. And I think that really shows in today's NHL with all the Americans that you have coming up now. I think he was definitely one of the reasons.
Yeah, I think people underestimate how much the league was taken over by Canadians just because of how many American teams there are. But like, I want to say in the past there was like 60% of all players on teams were Canadian. And yeah, probably way more than that going farther and farther back, but it's keep getting closer and closer to Canadians coming in equal with US, just because you start having these players who have these massive impacts on the game, allowing US people to like and enjoy hockey again.
Then you even have the Four Nations. Look at that. Like they beat Canada, and it took Canada even in overtime for them to even win the whole thing. And even when you look at all the World Juniors, look at the World Championship, the U.S. has just been dominating international hockey recently. And that just shows the caliber that their players have become.
Almost
now.
dominating.
Almost.
All right.
So the re-rank.
The final blind rank is Bobby and Brett Hall, Keith Tkachuk, and Matthew and Brady Tkachuk.
The Ogres.
Then you have the Statsneys, the Hows, and then the Prezes.
Sounds good, yeah.
Now, just quickly,
So if we
just go
wanna
through a
re-rank.
quick re-rank if you guys want to re-rank.
Ooh.
In my, obviously you could change because you did want the Kachucks higher.
Yeah.
I think I would, put the Hows above them. Because, again, the thing is, with those three
So
players...
do you want to move the Kachucks 2 down?
I think
So
so.
Stastny's up to 2nd, Howe's up to 3rd. Kachucks
No,
down.
I think I would just flip them. I think I would put Kachucks in 4
I see.
and then put Hows in 2.
So
Howe's
for
too.
one,
I'm
you're
okay with that because I think the Howe's were kind of shafted just because of Mark Howe in our list. And I think Gordie Howe, I mean, as much as Mark Howe can pull him back,
he's still
he's
just
still
rising up
good.
to that
Yeah.
level.
it's like Wayne Gretzky's dad. If we put him on this list, he'd still be pretty high up there because Wayne Gretzky's just that good.
Yeah. So for one, I think you guys are keeping it Bobby and Brett.
Oh yeah.
So I
sure.
kept
No
it
doubt in
like
my
that.
mind.
Second, you're going with Gordy and Mark Howe.
Yeah.
All right. So Gordy and Mark Howe are going in second. Third, you guys are saying Peter and Paul Stastny.
Leaving the
before.
Stastnys.
All right. And then Keith, Matthew, Brady Tkachuk in fourth. And then the Prezes in fifth. Correct?
Yeah, that all sounds fair.
I
to
think
me.
that's not too bad. In my opinion, I'd probably put the Tkachuks in last.
Yeah. You think
Just
so?
because I think yes, because of the Zach Parise thing. I think they are just he's just a little bit ahead than the Tkachuks.
You have to look at his dad as well.
Yeah,
just to-
yeah. That I
He
understand.
doesn't have that high caliber that Gordy has to bring up his
Yeah.
son.
Yeah,
His dad definitely brings.
and I'm just going off in big names. You have Hull, Howe, Stastny, they're just big names that you can
Yeah, 100%.
That's just my opinion, but I think this is a pretty decent list, and
All right.
I don't
well,
see any.
Yeah, I think that
I think that's pretty good. So the
That's
final
it for the games.
Yeah, the final ranking. For the blind ranking, the final ranking is Bobby and Brett Hull, Keith, Matthew, and Brady Tkachuk. That's the
revised?
blind ranking.
Oh, the blind ranking. I see.
The Stastnys, the Hows, and the Prezes. Then for the re-rank, it's the Hulls, the Hows, the Stastnys, the Tkachuks, and the Prezes. So
I think
there's
that's
a little
fair.
switch around there.
Yeah.
Fair.
Didn't
yeah.
get it completely right the first time. All right.
All right. So that's gonna wrap up our first
Yeah, that's I
episode.
think that's about it.
Stay tuned for every Sunday. We're
Yeah,
gonna be
we're
trying
gonna be
to
rolling
post-
these out on a weekly basis on Sundays. We're gonna try to do videos about every Wednesday. Those might be a bit less. On the dot
Yeah,
on a
it'll
Wednesday.
be either any time between.
Yeah, it should
Sunday
be on
and Saturday.
during the week sometimes.
During the week.
We'll try to aim for Wednesdays, but it'll move around if need be.
And then I think
That'll
just-
be,
just everything with socials. Check that out.
Yeah, make sure
Yeah.
you check out there's TikTok, Instagram, Spotify.
Anything,
Yeah.
anything that's being.
Well, pretty much everything will be gloves off hockey, one of the two, and yeah.
So just get ready. We have next week we have our little draft talk where we're all gonna come up with lists for the 16 teams in the draft. So the ones that you see in the draft lottery. There are more in the first round, but I think we're gonna stick with the first 16. We're each going to come up with our list of those 16 teams and who we think those teams are going to choose. We're going to do a little talk. We're going to go around the table. We'll have a fourth member as well. And we'll continue with the draft going into the next week as well with the actual draft day where we'll be watching the draft in the background as well and giving our intake on that. And then we'll go back into our regular kind of format and schedule. And yeah, so that's it for the first episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. And we'll see you guys next Sunday.
All right.